Right, what is going on, guys? How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting me over the last month, week, days, however long you have been watching or a part of my channel. Thank you. Your continued support is really good. It's fantastic. And if you guys could do me a favor as well and keep sharing my stuff, that would be fantastic. The sharing of the stuff helps me really grow my channel. For those of you that do want to contribute, there's a link down in the description where you can buy me a coffee. I really wanted to buy me a Buy Joe link, but apparently that's not a thing. Someone did say there maybe is a buy me a beer link. I don't know, if I find one, I'll put it down there. Anyway, just you watching my videos is enough. Anybody who is new here, also, hello, welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you're here, I guess you're here by suggestions or other kind of, maybe destiny just brought you here. Either way, if you're new here, consider subscribing. Right, so today, guys, we are talking about misconceptions of China, and there are quite a lot of them. Some of them are quite innocent, some of them are just the people that don't know. You can see by the title, which is the big one, right? And yeah, so I think we'll start with basically number one is buying a house in China. The misconception here is foreigners cannot buy a house in China, and this is just not true. In fact, I myself have bought a house here in China. I bought my house at a particularly good time in China's history for buying a house because it was when there was like a really good time for property prices. I bought mine for like 14,000 a square meter, and then there were all these laws brought in with minimum house prices, and the economy was boosted up. And I live in a developing area, so it's like it's going to have lots of fancy new houses there anyway. And now it's like 35,000 a square meter, so it's done pretty well. But anyway, a lot of the misconceptions are that foreigners cannot buy houses in China, and that's just simply not true. Foreigners can only buy one house in China. If it was any more than just one, I'd have to buy another one and keep it in my wife's name. But yeah, foreigners can buy property. It's not easy. It took a lot of notary going to the government and backwards and forwarding because it's not very often that foreigners buy houses here, but it is possible. Okay, number two is that everything in China, made in China, is of low quality. And while that may well have been the case like quite a few years ago, I guess like the 80s or stuff, when stuff was really kicking off and China was still really starting to develop itself, it's no longer that. Now, I'm not saying that there are no bad quality products made in China. If you go on Taobao, you can find hundreds of stuff which are cheap and not very good quality. But you know, that is life. When you're buying stuff and it's cheap and it seems way too good to be true. Maybe it is just too good to be true, right? But there is a lot of stuff which is really amazing. A lot of amazing quality products, such as DJI, which is obviously my favorite Chinese company, but they make incredibly good quality products. There's lots of very good innovation. China is almost at the forefront of the world in tech. I mean, I guess Japan is as well, but there's a lot of tech coming out of China and a lot of good products. So it isn't always as it is cracked up to be. Right, so number three is that China is overcrowded. Now, while China is busy in a lot of places, and there is a huge population here, it is not overcrowded in general. You can see now I'm out in the middle of a park and I can't even see one person. Actually, if you look on the index, is it like the population density index, China is not even in the top 5, I think, and most of the places which are sort of India and around that kind of area, China has a huge population, and if you go to popular places in China, you definitely will see this mass of people everywhere. But that's just because they're all descending on one place. It's not like that everywhere. So another misconception is that Chinese food here is the same as it is back in the West, and that's just not true. When you come here, it's one of the first things you discover is that it definitely isn't anything like when you're back home. And in actual fact, it's almost nothing the same, like almost. I would say there's some traits which are the same, because what they do here, they do it the other way around here as well with like Western food, like McDonald's, because not everybody's just gonna want to straight swap out for that kind of food because they're used to their own country style of food, is they bring in elements of said country's food to the new food coming in. And it means that people will accept it a lot easier. So that's what happens in England. A lot of it's very sweet. Like, I've never seen really anything that resembles the chow mein we have here. Not to say there isn't, but also like a lot of it is like sweet and sour style stuff, which is Guangdong style food. But even then, if you go to Guangdong, it's not quite the same as here. So yeah, the food in the West, the Chinese food, and the food here is definitely not the same. Now, we're gonna switch to something a little bit more serious now, because obviously, if you've seen the title of the video, that's what you came for. And number one is that there is no freedom in China. Now, that's just a really, really strange misconception. I guess because people see and hear about the government and other such things, and they think that, you know, that is how it is in China. And because it's China is ruled by the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. So people instantly think there is going to be no freedom. And I would actually argue there is more freedom than in the West. Although there is a government that is different from in the West, it's not the same as you would imagine. In fact, here you get away with a lot more. There's not a lot of stuff enforced. For example, just like small everyday things, like if I was to go to outside my house, if I didn't have a parking space, and I was to park my car, there was a small space which wasn't big enough to fit my car in lengthways. So what I did, and what commonly people do, is park their car up on the pavement and park it like around, like at an angle, or just back it up so it blocks the pavement and it blocks into that little bit of the road, but they've got their car parking space. And I actually find this super, super annoying. You can see why people do it, because there is a huge lack of parking in China. But yeah, if you did that in England, cars instantly towed away. You do that here, no problem. And it's kind of things, there's a lot of things like this. There's a whole bunch more. If you have any more freedoms which you could get away with in China, which you wouldn't be able to do in the UK, America, or wherever else, hit me up in the comments down below, because there are quite a lot. It is, I feel a lot more free here than I do when I'm back home in the UK. Now the last one, which is what you came here for, it's the title of the video, China is not communist. Now, if you look up on the internet the definition of communism, you look at China, it's not the same. It's not really even socialism, because although you could kind of bend a few of those socialist things around China, I would actually say it's more capitalism. Capitalism has taken off in China, and it is super, super successful. People here love to make money, and they're very successful at doing it. A lot of the time, Chinese people are very good at coming up with new ways to make money, and new business ideas, new business ventures. In fact, if you want to, as a foreigner, come to China and make a lot of money, China is a great place for that, because you will be able to be in an open marketplace where there will be a lot of competition, and there's a lot of things going on, but there's a lot more less saturated markets here than back in the West, in my opinion. And I think that if you played your cards right, you can come to China and you can make, like in China, it's very easy for people to make a lot of money in a short space of time. Like you see a lot of people here, come here, they have a great business idea, it takes off, it flies, and then after the initial burst, maybe there's a lot of people that want Me Too people that would just copy, and then sometimes that kind of finishes some businesses that can't. Some businesses will burn bright, really fast, but not last very long time. But if you make enough money from it, and then you move on to the next business idea, I guess that actually works out pretty well. So the name has stayed, but the ethos of it has not stayed. It is not communist, because like I said, if you look up the definition of communism and then see how China is not communist. Definitely 100% not communist by definition. Anyway, guys, what did you think? Is there any more misconceptions that you know of? Hit me up in the comments down below. As always, I am keen to hear your opinions, because that would be just cool. There's always a lot that I've missed, or things I just hadn't even thought of. So yeah, until next time, guys, stay safe. Peace out. Bye-bye.